captain of Laird Sutherland's guard. For some unknown reason, her heart started hammering in her chest, and she found it difficult to perform the simplest of tasks, like breathing. The captain's dark hair hung well below his shoulders, and he had a smile that grated on her nerves. Although he had the craggy look of an unfinished sculpture, he exuded masculinity in a way that unsettled her. He wore a kilt of green, black, blue, white, and orange, the Sutherland tartan. When the man caught her staring, his eyes twinkled, and a smile played on his lips. Grace averted her eyes. The rogue made her feel like he always knew her thoughts, and she couldn't stand that about him. She jumped when a familiar female voice spoke beside her. "My apologies. I didn't mean to startle you. I'm so glad you decided to stay with us for a while." Grace waved her sister off. "Ravenna, you have done so much for our family. Postponing my wedding was the least I could do. Furthermore, this will be a big transition for Elizabeth and Kat. Living in the Scottish Highlands will be a lot different than they're used to. And I cannot lie, I will miss you all so terribly. Before I go, I want to see my sisters settled into their new home, and I'd really like to spend some time with all of you before I become Lady Casterbrook. There's plenty of time for that later." She bumped her sister in the arm with her elbow. "Truth be told, I'm counting on you to tell me all the secrets about married life, Lady Sutherland. Although I had grown rather fond of Lady Ravenna Walsingham, or even Mistress Denny, I do find your new name suits you quite well." Ravenna shook her head. "I'd rather not be reminded about Mistress Denny, but how could I forget that you were the one who travelled from Edinburgh and gave my true identity away? Everything turned out for the best, but I certainly hope you've learned a valuable lesson from your careless actions." "Rest assured, Lady Sutherland, now that I know you're a spy for the crown, I will never be so foolish as to place you in harm's way again." "Lower your voice. And I told you, I retired from service." Grace rolled her eyes. "So you and Uncle Walter continue to say, but how does one simply retire? Are you ever really done trying to protect our king and country? Who knows? Perhaps Uncle Walter will give me my first assignment when I go back to England. With your instruction, I'm more than ready." "Grace," Ravenna said with impatience, "we never agreed that you'd take my place." "I think what you mean to say is that you never agreed." Ravenna rubbed her hand over her brow. "It takes far more than a handful of my words and guidance to be ready to work for the crown. And you're getting married in a few months. What about Daniel?" "What about him? He'll never find out. I never knew you worked for the king either." "Yes, and look what good that did me," her sister snapped. "Do we have to have this discussion right now, especially on my wedding day?" "You do look beautiful." Ravenna's smooth ivory skin glowed. Her red hair dangled over her shoulders in loose waves that hung down her back. She wore a light blue wedding gown, and her skirts were split and tied back to reveal the gold silk brocade beneath. "I have to ask you this again. Are you sure you want to stay at the manor house and remain in England? I know Uncle Walter will watch over you, but—" "Oh, I'm quite certain. I'll only live there until Daniel and I wed." Grace didn't miss how her sister had quickly changed the direction of the conversation. Looking around the great hall at Ravenna's new family only further confirmed that Grace's decision was the right one. "I know your husband's family, clan suits you, but this life is not for me. My home is in England, and frankly, I want to be around people I can clearly understand." A deep voice interrupted the conversation. "Are you keeping my wife all to yourself? 'Tis time to give her up for a wee bit, lass." "Pardon?" asked Grace. Laird Rory Sutherland was definitely not a man Grace would like to encounter in a dark alley in London in the middle of the night. Her sister's head only reached the middle of the massive man's chest. His brown hair had traces of red and was fairly straight. He had a powerful set of shoulders and looked like a bloody mercenary, as though he could kill someone with only a stare. In Grace's humble opinion, Ravenna was more elegant and graceful when she was with the brawny Highland laird. Grace had a difficult